Landing gear deployed.
Oh, come on. No, come on. Land. Come on. Thank you. So, everything chaff and it's 90 minutes. Yeah, exactly. So, I license the music from Epidemic Sound. Right, I license the music from Epidemic Sound, so I don't get strikes. Otherwise, this music is essentially royalty free. It's royalty free if you pay Epidemic Sound. So that's what I'm going to use. You know, there isn't really any such thing as there's not a lot of music that is available freely. All right.
You are clear of the station. Flight control out.
Yeah, so yeah, AI music can fuck off. Yeah, AI stuff can fuck off. If you want to, I mean, if you want to do it for some like just personally for fun, oh, well, okay. But I'm certainly not doing it. I'm certainly not using AI stuff for you know, stream content. No. So an all the AI. Not if we refuse to use it, it won't. And when the AI bubble bursts, which it will, then it could very quickly be gone, or many of the sources will be gone. So, you bought Strep Joe and Wake Up on iTunes. Yeah, so all the stuff from Epidemic is you can go and buy it. That's the thing. You can buy it on like iTunes. You know, look up the you know, the artists and that, and you can probably go and buy it on iTunes. So, oh yeah, the AI bubble is going to come crashing down soon.
I would not be surprised if this year the AI bubble comes crashing down, right? And I will not shed a single tear for it. Alright, so there we go.
We're happy to have you. Priority access will be granted.
It's the same thing. Yeah, I will. Hey, are you? Yeah, I will not shed a single tear for it.
You know, when you've got the creators of AI companies, basically begging their customers to try and find more uses for the AI so that they can continue to get investment money, it's going to collapse. Right? It's going to collapse. There isn't a natural use for the AI that they're developing. Not as widespread as they want to as they want to do. Right. So, Odyssey, some. Oh yes, I've got to look that up, haven't I? Right, let's get on to that. Right, there's that one. Excellent. Some AI new metal music about Anon laughing like an idiot. Oh my god. That sounds wild. Okay. Oh good lord. Right.
Landing gear retracted.
Docking clamps retracted. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
Good lord. Burst into what? Many pieces. But essentially, OpenAI just goes bankrupt and ceases to exist. So that's basically what's going to happen. You know, OpenAI for one is just going to disappear. yes, good.
Trespass zone. Power plant capacity exceeded.
Hold. We'll just shuffle our way in there. Scan that, thank you. There we go. Easy. I even get to find I might not be able to find that. Yeah, apparently. So, welcome back, 80. So, how have you been getting on? We get that. Don't carry us off for now. Better. Right. Right, let's go and see if we've got some more. The new ship, I have, yes. Yeah, the Kestrel is wild. Absolutely wild. We'll be jumping back into that later. So, not try the door. No! One step closer to the Matrix. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times I've found and the AI search is worse than the old search. Right, the old search would genuinely get you to the right answer, and the AI search might be anything but. Because I know that AI can just make stuff up, I can't trust the AI search. So to me, it just made it worse, not better. Right. Biological sites. Remove the ability to zone directly. Yes, they changed the way it was done. So when you scan for like a biological site, you used to get some set places on the planet where the biological would be. That's been changed now so that the biology could be all over the planet. So so what you'll get instead is a blue. The planet will be marked blue, and you can change which biological you're looking for. The blue areas of the planet is where that biological should be. So filter the surface scan by what you're looking for, and then go to where it's blue, and you look for it there. So they could now be all over the planet's surface, rather than in fixed locations. That's now the way to do it. So that's when was that changed? Now there is an exception where we've gone where there was a CG recently where we've gone blue trees, and those are still in specific. Those are put down in specific places. So that's currently the only exception. But that's what was changed. Yes. So it's much more kind of realistic that way. So you might go down and you find like one little thing of the biological, or you might go down and you might find kind of a forest of it. Right. So instead of like a couple of blades of grass, you might get like a couple of blades of grass, or you might have this big field of grass. And you don't quite know which one you're going to get yet until you go there. So optimizing it to be better. Yeah, I mean, basically, AI mustn't lie to you, right? Because it seems a lot of the time it's just telling you what you want to hear or something. It's not allowed to say I don't know. So the AI must not lie to you. That's the thing. If it lies to you, then that information is useless. Right, let's get another round. I can't think of anything more useless than that. If you've asked it a question, right, what is this, and it doesn't give you the right answer, then that's completely useless. that's no good to anybody. You know? And currently, what it'll do is if it can't find information, right? If it can't find information about something, or something's not, it's got like it's contradictory, it could just make stuff up. You know? And that's the big problem I've really got with the current AI, where people are trying to use it that way, is it will just make stuff up. I mean, that lawyer that got disbarred, right? He did that because he had it write a court document for him. So he wrote his court presentation with it for an actual case, and he used ChatGTP to write the present of his his argument. You know, his like prosecution argument or something, or whatever it was, and he had ChatGTP write it, and ChatGTP did the whole thing, and then in there it cited a case as a precedent for what it was saying, and that case didn't exist. It just made it up. Right? It sounds right. Yeah, he fucked around and found out, and it just made it up. You know, it was this completely imaginary case that it was cited. And of course, the courts check these things. Right? If you have you'll give me a document like that to the court, and it says, from this such and such case, they're going to go check that. Yeah, they're going to go check what that case was and what it actually said, to see if you're talking bollocks. And they found that the case didn't exist. So he got fired and disbarred. You enjoying Odyssey Materials Helper? Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's a one-stop shop, pretty much now. It really is. It started out only doing the on-foot materials, and then it's been expanded and expanded and expanded, and now it's able to do pretty much anything. You can do, ship loadouts, add that to wish list, so you can build your ship in there, and then add it to, and then have it create a wish list of materials on it. It's brilliant stuff. Yeah, like every source, yeah, you got to double check it. You know, but then you had the older Google search, and it would basically give you a bunch of sites that might contain this information. Then you could sort it out. So, but usually the old Google search would end up at the right place. I mean, if you ask AI a very simple question, you say like, "What's the population of New York?" then it's probably going to get that right because that number is readily available and there's official numbers. It's probably going to get that right. It's when you're asking it something more, a bit more complicated, and you might get it just making it up. Yeah, like statistics and stuff. It's probably going to get that right. So, yeah, subjective things, it can't do it. That's how teachers catch students out. Yeah, they go and check the sources, right? Cite your sources. And like when you're doing anything you're doing for like college, university, you're always told to cite your sources. And as my uncle's been able to tell me that because he was he lectured at and he's told me, he says, Wikipedia is not a source. Are Dav's Hope and Jameson Crash Site still viable? Jameson Crash Site, yes. Dav's Hope, no. It's better to run HGE sites now. But when you go to an HGE site, you'll be amazed. Right? Find an HGE and be amazed. Because you basically fill the entire bin from it in one go. Right? No more relogging to reset it. Jameson's Crash Site now has 9 scan points instead of 4, and it gives way more data than it did before. Same with the crashed Anaconda at Aurora. That also has much more. So you get many more materials now in one go than you used to. So they sped that up a lot.
Message.
Oh, it would be too. Yeah, so it really, it's really kind of shortened that grind quite a lot. Internet search engine AI will return the most popular answer of all the answers, including the wrong ones. Yes, because like a very popular hit might not be the one with the answer that you need, the answer that you want, or might not actually be the right thing. So just because something has got to the top of the search doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. You know, it's just got to the top of the search because everybody's gone there. The relog trick singer thing, I mean, you can do, yeah. I mean, it will still work, but you just don't need to do it. Because you can arrive at an HE with, like, say, no core dynamics composites, and you start collecting the HE, and then you finish off and you're full of core dynamics composites. So you don't need to do that anymore. Brain trees and stuff, yes. And the crashed Anaconda, yes, you can log out, log back in, it'll refresh it. Or you can jump super through and turn around for that. And that will refresh it. So, but ACEs you just don't need to do it. That's the real thing. The limpet crashing with brain trees? Not recently, no. I mean, it's like an unforeseen use that people were putting them to. They found it worked because they slowed the limpets way down. Because they slowed the limpets way down so they didn't crash into asteroids as much. Because what they used to do was they used to go out. They used to go out, grab go out really fast, grab the thing, and then they would keep going a bit, and then turn around and come back, and that could make them crash into asteroids. So to make them crash into asteroids less, they popped them up, and then they would slow down, grab the thing, and then turn around. And that did mean for a while that they could pick things up off the ground quite reliably. But then of course people started saying that they were a bit too slow, so they sped them up again. Right? They tweaked the speed back up a bit, and that means now they do tend to crash into the ground. It works fine in space, but now they tend to crash into the ground. Distance to the trees despawn. Yes, I mean that still works. Right, that still works, but the limpets are not completely reliable at picking stuff up off the ground. They will hit the ground and die more often than not now. They were never really meant to do that. So I think Frontier have been adjusting them to work in space where they're supposed to work. They weren't really intended, I don't think, for ever picking stuff up off the ground. So now probably the best way to do the brain trees is to knock off fragments en masse with rockets, right? And then quickly land, get out in an SRV and go and hoover a whole bunch of stuff up. right, and then back in the ship, do again. Hoover up. But you couldn't despawn the trees. You rock them off, despawn the trees, all things fall to the ground. Chip upside down, punch it 45 degrees, that somewhat works. Yeah, I think there's a very particular distance where it can work more reliably. I don't know. I have ended up going to the crashed Anaconda and just shooting the cargo racks there. So, but yeah, it's how teachers catch students out. They get them to cite sources and then check the sources. Of course, if what they've written is basically the same as the source, right? Look, you just copied that, right? Right, it's copied that. No, that's not how it works. But as my uncle said, you know, because I said to him, it's like Wikipedia is not source. No, it's not. Wikipedia, if you cite Wikipedia as a source, that'll be discarded. You could get to a trusted source through Wikipedia, maybe. But citing a Wikipedia article as a source would get you would not go down well. Right, so by all means you can find a Wikipedia article and you can read it through, and if it is made up of cited sources that are not Wikipedia, and you can follow through to those sources and check and then go to them yourself, you know, that you can determine whether the article is actually any good. You know, so if it's citing sources that are not back to some other Wikipedia article, then there you go. That's the very original source is the one to cite, not Wikipedia. But yeah, no, that's not a trusted source. That's it's someone's opinion. Because basically anybody can submit stuff to Wikipedia. So I'm sure there's plenty of Wikipedia articles up there that are complete bollocks. I need to filter out those ones. There's some tracks that can't play. Got them back out again. You're just a mess up there. Oh, they are. Yeah, they 100% are. Yeah, some people are deliberately going out and poison AI. Yes. Because AI will just accept it. It doesn't know that. It'll just accept it. Yeah, people are absolutely doing that. They've set out to poison the AI. And it's hard to be critical of those people. You know, when AI basically took like the full content of the internet for data to teach it without asking anybody permission. Particularly for stuff like art, music. Right, they just took it. They didn't ask permission, and they certainly didn't compensate anybody for, certainly didn't pay anybody for being able to train the AI on their content. Did they? Right, they just stole it. Yeah, they just stole it. Yeah, they didn't ask anybody. They just stole it. So, because the best use you've got for an AI is you have an AI that's local to a particular task or particular place, and you're ensuring that it's only trained on information that is correct, right? Because that way the AI will give you correct answers, right? So you don't have it learn from fucking Reddit, right? It's like being trained from Reddit. Reddit is just full of complete bollocks, and you train the AI on Reddit. Oh boy. So, but yeah, they ignored copyrights and everything, and straight up plagiarized everybody. So yeah, they do this and stole everybody's content.
Machine released. Engines engaged.
Like so yeah, it's like onboarding an employee. But so if you have, you can have an AI system that is say you could have, say, a company AI system, which is contained within the company itself. So the company itself runs that, and it's only given it's only trained on information from the company. So all the information you're training it on, you know, is correct, right? Then it's probably going to give you the right answer. But I think you should be treating it more as like an information system.
Lizard.
Good morning. Rather than using it for anything that requires opinions, like customer services. Because that's what people have been trying to do. Oh, we can get AI to do the customer services. No, you can't. No, you do need people to do that. Right. Because it turns out an AI can't even get a McDonald's order correct. Yeah. Was it Taco Bell, wasn't it? Taco Bell put in they replaced all the drive-through ordering, and they attached it to an AI system to do drive-through ordering. Yeah, unless you want 900,000 cheeseburgers, and it couldn't understand people. Right? It was getting everything wrong. It couldn't understand people. It was getting orders wrong. It was asking the same question over and over and over again, and they ended up just stopping it. You know, because of the pushback on it, because of the crap. Like, why did you do this? It's like, well, I tell you why they wanted to do it. They wanted to do it so that they didn't have to employ you. That's why they wanted to do it. Yes, customer service, you need people to do that. Yeah, well, they're probably test for you. Yeah, I mean, they probably lost a good chunk of money. When the way they had it before worked. But their motivation would have been that, well, we get an AI to do it, then we wouldn't need to pay people to do it. And we save money. You know, that's businesses. That's a lot of businesses' motivation for AI. It's like, oh, now we don't need to pay people because an AI can do it.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
So more money for us. That's their motivation. Don't let any company tell you otherwise. Right? Their motivation is that it'll make them more money, and that's either by generating more revenue or saving you payroll. The headlights are voice activated and the car switched them off while driving. Oh god. How are headlights not just on a switch? How? So they get a sucky product and go under. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because, yeah, the main purpose that companies have is so they don't have to pay humans. Yeah, you like stuff like that. You why would you do that? I mean, by all means, have a voice control for it, but there must be a switch. So at some point, it's heard something to turn the headlights off, right? like that should never be voice controlled. Never. Anything like that should never be voice controlled because it can mishear and then turn them off. Many processors are bloated to give boomers jobs, and who wants to change that as people are voters and AI is not? Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, companies will always want to kind of trim down, and it can sometimes be very hard to get rid of people. Yeah, the company's purpose is to make money, and I mean, as I've kind of said before, right? If you want to make, you've got to spend money to make money, right? And this is true. You've got to spend money in order to make money. But if you want to make lots of money, if you want to get rich, you spend somebody else's money. Right? That's the trick. Right? If you want to get rich, spend someone else's money. They said to turn off the interior light and the car switched all the lights off. Yeah, so it misheard. Yeah. So, yeah. It didn't get it right. Yeah, headlights and stuff like that, they should be on a switch. Right? They should not be voice controlled. Otherwise, if you're just talking to your passenger, at some point it's going to hear something that it thinks is a command, isn't it? Right? But then what's it going to do? But at the end of the day, you know, a company does have to set up an efficient operation so that they're not wasting money. But you know what I mean. But as long as they're trying to replace things that don't need to be replaced, that were working just fine, they've replaced it with something that does worse. Been a mechanic, auto body repair, welder. Cars are not repaired; they're traded and replaced by insurance. Yeah, and it's the electronics. Yeah, I think a lot of time it's the electronics that are incredibly expensive, and insurance companies write them off. You know, so a car with comparatively little actual damage might get written off just because of parts costs. So, yeah, they're not, because technically anything can be repaired, right? You know, and pretty much anything can be repaired. You know, it's just how much does it cost? And if the cost of the repair is going to be like the cost of just replacing it, then the insurance is going to write it off and replace it. So now that doesn't mean that somebody else can't then buy that and repair it, and there are many people that do. You know, they're all over YouTube as well. You know, Matt Armstrong and that. You know, that buy this wrecked, you know, this crashed car that the insurance has written off, and then fixing it. I mean, I've seen some of the cars he's been working on. Some of the parts costs are absolutely eye-watering, and there's a couple that he has lost money on. But you know, we're talking like Ferraris, Rolls Royces, you know, and they've been written off mainly because of a lot of the fancier electronically controlled parts that become damaged, and suddenly the cost of repair goes a bit moist. Yeah, like flood damage. You know, like if I mean, one of them was a Rolls Royce SUV that got flooded, stopped working, and it got written off by the insurance. Yeah, it got straight up written off. So he then bought it and fixed it. So car manufacturers disagree. Yeah, it's wrong. I mean, I'm opposed. I'm very opposed to touch screens. You know, touch screen controls in cars. I think that's dangerous. That's dangerous. I want a physical switch. There's a physical switch I can feel for in the dark without thinking about it. Because I know where it is, and I can feel for it. But if it's on a touch screen, I've got to look at the screen, and then I've got to make sure I've left it in the right place. And when I'm looking at the screen, I can't be looking at the phone as well. I want an actual tactile switch. You know, for important functions like headlights and climate controls, I want a physical switch. I want physical control. So I don't like there's so much stuff on touch controls now. I don't like that at all. I think that needs to be gone. We want a physical switch. It's safer. Right, like indicators, they should all be on the stalks, and none of that should be touched. Physical switch, right? It's safer. They look at their phones. Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? So, but EV batteries in a boat that they converted, it caught fire. EV batteries, salt water. Yeah, they don't like that. Yeah, you would have to make sure you kept them away from salt water. But if they've did they get the battery from a car that had been in a crash? Because if they did, the battery might have been damaged as well. And that kind of battery, if it's damaged and then you use it, then yes, it can be flammable and or explosive. So there's systems now within the batteries in EVs that if there's it detects a crash, it will cut all power from the battery. But also it'll trip something in the battery, the controller in the battery pack itself, so that if you connected it back up, the battery is still saying, "Hey, I've been in a crash." And it won't let it be used. So because if it has taken damage, it could explode or catch fire. So, Mike Decker, good afternoon. A jet with touchscreen, yikes. Well, exactly. Although you do have more time, but there's plenty of physical controls in passenger jets, right? Right, you have glass cockpit displays, but you've got physical switches. It's at least in a Boeing. In a Boeing, yeah. And if you like driving in cars, you can't use those touchscreens. But again, like passengers, you got way more time. Yeah, 3D printing Bugatti. Well, Bugatti body parts anyway is what he's printing. He's trying to 3D print the whole front end bodywork of Bugattis. But it's, I don't know. I'm finding him quite fascinating of what he's taken on and what kind of protection systems some of these, like hybrid cars have. Where it's essentially if the car crashes, it disables its battery, so that it can't just be turned back on, where it might potentially be flammable, and they actually disable their batteries. So they can be re-enabled, but you would, I guess the intention there is that you would be going to get the battery checked, and if it was physically otherwise physically good, it could be reset and reused, but the car will disable it. Yeah, I mean, the driving gloves came on because you used to have wooden steering wheels. Didn't you? You had like wooden steering wheels that from way back. They could get quite slippery, and you might have little splinters in them. Now you didn't want splinters and that, and a leather glove got you much better grip on the wheel. That's I think why driving gloves came around. Much better grip on like a wooden steering wheel. But with steering wheels now, you don't really need to wear driving gloves anymore. What we got? So yeah, they're not really required in a Tesla. Oops, come on. No. Oh God, come on. Thank you. The charm of all vehicles. Yes, they have a lot of charm. EVs will get better. I've not driven one yet.
Gear retracted.
I've not driven an EV yet.
Engines engaged.
At some point, it's inevitable, but I haven't driven one yet. No, I haven't ridden in one either. But I don't know. It is inevitable, but I wouldn't be looking for something big. I think that because the way they've gone at the moment is that the first EVs have been big, right? Because they were expensive to make, so they made something like SUV. Because they were expensive to make, and then rich people started buying them, right? And it kind of gets them out there, and they're only going to become cheaper when you can then make you can make the rest of the range of the cars start to get EV alternatives in the rest of the range, and then as you make more of them, the more and more of them, then the price comes down, and then the price comes down, and more people can afford to buy them, and then it's and this is how economy of scale works. So now we're starting to see EVs coming into little city cars as well. You have the new Renault 5 is a super mini EV, right? And that would be the kind of thing that I would be buying. So yeah, the little G-Wiz, yeah, but it was rubbish. it was awful. It was terrible. EVs are very good. I mean, some of them, yeah, some of them. Now the Renault 5 is an EV, but it does 0 to 60 in like 10 seconds. So it's like your usual petrol performance, right? It doesn't do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, right? It doesn't need to, right? We had the Nissan Leaf has been around for how many, like over a decade? The Nissan Leaf has been around? Possibly 15 years. One of the first practical EVs. Been around a long time. So oh, if you did Utopia, if you like set off a big EMP, 95% of cars on the road would stop working. That's not just an EV problem. 95% of current cars would stop working.
Scan detected.
And it would just laugh at you. Oh yeah, I mean,
You're on course, Commander.
that's. I mean, I suppose that started off, and you had this desirability. It was like people had this perception of electric cars being really slow, but actually no, they can be very fast, and very, very high acceleration. So initially, I guess they made electric cars that had lots of performance to break that perception, and then people would want to buy them. It's like, oh, these things are not slow at all, are they? But now you have, like I say, you have the Renault 5, super mini electric car, exactly the kind of thing that I would be buying, but it's not 60, it's like 10 seconds, so it's not super car fast, and it was never intended to be. You know, now because if you want to make it supercar fast and still get range, you've got to have a bigger battery, right? You've got to have a bigger battery. So you don't put as powerful a motor in, and to get the range now, you can do that on a smaller battery, which is also light, which is always better. So, do we need this thing to be super fast? No, we don't actually. It's not the person who's buying this is not interested, so we don't need to do it. So like the Renault 5, I imagine, is basically just like driving, kind of basically like driving any other average car right now. So it's just electric powered now. So there's a lot of them in ditches. Yeah, because people have tried all the, like if you could turn the traction control systems a bit, people do it and then end up in a hedge. Electric Corsa. So they're bringing electric Corsa. Okay. So, I mean, they also do make a sport variant of the Renault 5, which is fast. It's like twice as fast. But that's the trade-off you're gonna do. And I used to race radio cars, and which were electric cars. So you only had so much room to put batteries. There's only so much room to put batteries, so you've only got so much electric capacity. Now the races were 5 minutes long. All the races were 5 minutes long. So, and in the times when I was doing it, that could be quite challenging. I think we started with 1600 essentially six cells in a pack. And you had about 1,600 million hours, and then over time that went up to 2,000, and we were like, wow, 2,000, and now they're like 2,500, 3,000, and you got more and more. But when you were running on like a 1,600, that was actually quite tight to make the car last the 5 minutes, and you could easily make it not last the 5 minutes by trying to use too much power at the wrong time. You know, and you soon learn that a more powerful motor is going to drain that pack much faster, and you've got to drive it more carefully, so that you would get to the end of the race. And as batteries got more capacity in them, you had the 1200s as well. Oh god. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I had some 1200s as well. And we moved like 16s and 18s. But, yeah, 1200s, you could only really use the standard motors. Yeah, standard motors on a 1200. Yeah, and then they moved from NiCad to nickel metal hydride. Because originally with the nickel cadmium, which are kind of nasty, you know, they're kind of nasty, and they moved to nickel metal hydride, right? And they were much better. Yeah, much better. Oh, 100%. Why did it? Oh, you missed a space. You missed a space after the full stop. Yeah, the F1 starts this weekend. It is going to be interesting to see how they manage that, because I'm wondering if they're going to have to kind of turn it down a bit and allow more regeneration. Otherwise, there might be some problems. Apparently, there's a plan B, which I think is going to be adjusting the power direction. It isn't great, of course, it might be discontinued. It's essentially you don't expect it. Yeah, because with an electric motor, the torque is like just there, right? You don't kind of build it up or anything, it's just there. So, fast, heavy, lot of momentum. Yes, exactly. So friend in Portugal, great Portugal across the border, Spain and no travel. Yeah, so it's going to come down, which has got to come, because everybody everywhere wants zero emissions, so all this infrastructure has got to come. Target's production's not up to it. I don't think they're going to switch trucks though. I don't think it's practical for trucks, not right now. I think it's going to need a lot more. So I would see trucks staying on diesel power. Long distance buses as well. Not EV. Like EV is great, but it's not suitable for everything. So I see a lot like big truck transport staying on diesel. So hey Beldernick, welcome in. So I mean as we are actually producing enough, I think, but if there's so I don't think we need tens of thousands of nuclear power plants. I mean, what would go a long way would be if like all new homes built had to have solar panels on the roof. Hey around, welcome in. Button pushed indeed. So thank you very, very much for the 39 months, my dudes. Much appreciated. Enjoy some emotes and some ad-free viewing. Welcome back. Trucks will go electric for the perfect induction and put up in major motorways. That is a possibility. That is a way. And EV trucks do exist, but I don't think it will be ready for all trucks to go EV. Certainly not really anytime soon. I think there's a lot more. Development would need to, and infrastructure would need to happen for that to be practical. So I don't see trucks going EV, not immediately. Is there a way to make flight assist a proper toggle? Yes. It shouldn't be a hold. So if you go into controls. Where are we in? That one, isn't it? Nope. Where are you? Flight miscellaneous? Yeah. So where it says toggle flight assist, click the plus here, and then you can change button mode to toggle. So it's hidden away behind that, but click the plus and then you get that one, and you can switch it to hold or toggle. So that should just be labeled flight assist. And then the button mode, I don't know why they hide that one. But yeah, switch that to toggle and then that's what it'll do. I would actually like that to be a default option so that you can default it to off if you want it, like the SRV. The SRV you can default the drive assist to off. I'd like the same for ships. So yeah, it's basically down to infrastructure, and lack of. So I don't see big trucks using EV. Wanted to ban sailing since it stole the wind from the windmill power plants. That's not how that works. This guy's an idiot. That's not how that works. So, oh my god. Flight assist, you understand why it has hold? Well, if it was hold, then what you can do is if your flight assist on, you can start a turn, press the flight assist on, and hold it as the ship hits the ground, and then when you release it, go back on. So it's for people that toggle like that. So that's how some people use flight assist. You fast left turn. And for that, they just need to have it hold it off for a couple of seconds and then back on. So rather than press the button required, so just hold it for 2 seconds and then release. Turn off the FAO voice alert. Yes. Yeah, I turned that one off a long time ago. And the FSD countdown and the jumping and all that. After you've been listening to it for like 5 years, it's like, no, I'm fed up of hearing that now. Let's see. Trucks in Germany have train-style metal points connected to wires with the motorways. I'm not sure. It's a way it could be done. It's one way it could be done. It's like the old trolley buses. Remember the old trolley buses where you had wires above the street, and you had an electric-powered bus with a contact that goes up to the wire, and that's where it got its power. Now the only thing with that was that they were restricted to streets that had wires. Now we have like a hybrid buses much of the time, and then their engines all like certainly a bus that's only in a town would be viable as electric power, or hybrid electric power, that kind of thing, and then it uses less. It maybe then uses less fossil fuel, and it still is able. But a long distance bus would still at the moment not be viable to use an electric power alone. So that kind of thing, and trucks, I don't see them dying out. I don't see them going electric by 2035. I don't think there would be enough. I don't think technology would allow it just yet. So that's why the like any bands that are coming in 2035, it's only for petrol and diesel cars. Right, 2035 is petrol and diesel cars, not trucks, buses. Right, it's cars, driving cars. That alone will make a massive difference to air quality in big towns and cities. It'll make a massive difference just doing cars, because that's the majority of the vehicles. So getting them starting to drive those away from fossil fuels will make a massive difference to air pollution. But I don't think that trucks and long distance bus, I don't think that would be viable for them to be EV powered by 2035. You might want a different fuel. You might want a different power source for them. Maybe those are the more viable hydrogen vehicles, for instance. Sales employed. There's been a lot of inflation. We'll see. I mean, it's already been pushed back twice. Yeah, it's already been pushed back twice. Will they really? Because they by 2030, I think 80% of all new registrations from manufacturers must be zero emission, and that hasn't been changed. So they've got to get them out there. It's and if sales have gone down, it kind of means that they're not affordable to enough people, right? And so if the manufacturers have got to kind of shave the margins a bit, in order to get the things out there, then economies of scale can recover things. It'll have a comparable difference as the change from horse carriages. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it will make a massive difference. EVs more attractive as fuel prices rise. That too. Yeah, that too. Right, let's get another round. Let's have a look. useless. There we go. I could do with some... Sometimes you get enemies coming after you for these. That one. Electric support, no. Scan, no. That would be useless. Anything that's going to require combat will not count for elections. Right? It's your courier jobs. These are also useless. So any of those others. So election support. So these, you basically go and pick things up. But I don't have great.
Beldernick just tipped 5. Galnet News. All KTCs seem to have disappeared from known space. It seems they have given up looking for their target pilot name deleted to protect identification.
Scan festgestellt. Scan festgestellt. Scan festgestellt. Scan festgestellt. Ladeluken öffnen Drohne im Anflug. Angriff registriert. Ladeluken öffner Drohne ausgewichen. Scan festgestellt. Angriff registriert. Eingehende missionsrelevante Nachricht. Scan festgestellt. Angriff registriert. Scan festgestellt. Scan festgestellt. Angriff registriert. Scan festgestellt. Angriff registriert. Scan festgestellt. Scan festgestellt. Angriff registriert. ausführbar.
Charging points. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing they should be doing. So, so they're thinking ahead. Yeah, they're actually thinking ahead. Right, we'll get another round. I think this then will be kind of the limit. After this lot, I don't think there's any point doing anymore. Go and shoot things in CG again. Right. And of course they're all separate pieces. Right. Bigger petrol stations? Depends. But I mean that is another place that recharging points should be getting. There should be more and more charging points coming into, say, supermarket car parks. You know, like your general city car park. I would say probably not. But like supermarket car parks and where filling stations are, they can become charging points. You know, rather than that. So, but like supermarkets, I could see them totally doing it. Starting to happen. Probably fast charge is more expensive than. I mean, they'll be using those will be more expensive than charging at home. So that will be the trade-off. So if you're having to charge out or when you're away from home, it's going to be more expensive. But the average EV. Like if you're having to charge it, say, once a week, then it's costing like £3. It's costing like £3 to top it up. Instead of so like if like I'll get my comparison right here. If your normal car, you would need 1 tank of fuel a week, and you could do the same with and you could do the same miles with an EV. For that same week, then the petrol car is maybe going to cost you £50 or £60 in petrol, but the EV is costing you £3 to recharge it, to recharge it at home. That's the difference. So, Beowulf, welcome in. Cinema car parks, yeah. I mean, car parks could be, yeah, car parks could be very good places to put these. Taxing per mile. I want to know how they intend to do that. Right? How are they actually intending to do that? This sounds like someone having a great idea that they haven't thought through of how they're actually going to track that. So I think they haven't thought that through. So it might work. I mean, if they're using number plate recognition, then that might be fine down motorways. But not every road has ANPR cameras on it. So unless you're going to install ANPR cameras everywhere, then that method is out.
Docking request granted.
I don't think they're going to spend the money to do that. Raise the cost of electricity. They don't. Well, they don't have control of it though. That's the energy companies.
Landing gear deployed.
So and how would they know which part of the electricity is charging your car? Right, and that wouldn't be fair to somebody who doesn't have a car.
Successful. Engines disengaged.
Right, so I don't see you can charge electricity. Right, just blanket raising the cost of electricity. But, I'll get back onto the other one. Yeah, so then first 3 years you don't pay, but then after the first 3, so then after 3 years you buy a new car and you never have to pay tax. So that's not going to work either, is it? You know, unless you got a unless you got a tax for those first 3 years, and then you get a lump sum tax from 3 years of mileage. You know, so it's not gonna work. I don't see how they're gonna do that. You get let off the extra if you declare. Yeah, but I mean, we know how that works out with TV license, doesn't it? They still harass you. Yeah, they still harass you, don't they? The new owner gets clobbered with your mileage. I mean, who's to say that it wouldn't? Yeah. So that's not. So that's also a non-starter. So I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they intend to do this. You know, I mean, the number plate recognition. It might work when you're on motorways. You know, the you know, your major roads. Because they can track that, and they could charge by the mile on like major, big motorways. You know, because they've got cameras there.